another chilling episode of Into the Depths of Mystery. Today, I'm sharing a true horror story, one that will leave you questioning what's real and what isn't. This isn't a story I heard from someone else. This happened to me when I was in my early 20s. I was young, new to the country, just trying to build a life. But one freezing winter night changed everything. Today, I'm going to tell you about the night I met her, an old woman in the snow. Back then, I worked at a gas station located right in the heart of the city. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills, especially for an international student like me. I lived about an hour away from work, in a small apartment tucked just outside the city limits. My daily routine was exhausting. I had to take 2 buses to get to work and back. After my second bus dropped me off, it was another 10 to 15-minute walk to my apartment. Sometimes peaceful, sometimes lonely, but I got used to it. My usual shift was from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. It was manageable. I'd finish work, catch the 10:20 bus, and head home simple. It was winter, and not just any winter night. It was a public holiday. Most people were home, warm, spending time with family. But not me. I had picked up the shift, thinking I'd earn a bit of extra pay. After all, public holiday hours came with better wages. The snow had started falling in the late afternoon, light at first, then quickly turning into a storm. By the time my shift was about to end, everything outside was blanketed in white, and the roads were dangerously slippery. Just before 10 p.m., I got a call from the colleague who was supposed to take over the night shift. His voice was tense. He told me he'd be late. His car was stuck in the snow. There was no way he could make it on time. I said, "No worries, take your time." Honestly, I didn't mind. It meant more hours, more money, but I overlooked something important. On public holidays, public transportation runs on a reduced schedule. And now, paired with a snowstorm, it was even worse. Time passed slowly. Midnight approached. My colleague finally arrived around 12 a.m., apologizing profusely. I bundled up and stepped out into the freezing night. The streets were deserted. Snow was falling heavily. Streetlights flickered, struggling to cut through the thick white veil that blanketed everything. I made my way to the bus stop, just next to the gas station. Snow was piled high on the sidewalks. Cars were scarce, and everything looked eerily still, like the city was holding its breath. I waited and waited. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, nothing. I checked the transit app, but it wasn't helpful. After about 45 minutes, a bus finally arrived. I was relieved. It was warm inside, and I saw a few passengers, 4 or 5 at most. We sat in silence as the bus crawled through the snow-covered streets. Eventually, I reached the transfer stop and waited for my second bus. Miraculously, it arrived fairly quickly. It felt like a stroke of luck at the time. There were even fewer passengers this time. As we left the city and entered the more isolated suburbs, one by one, the others got off. Soon it was just me and the driver. As we approached my stop, I stood up, thanked the driver, and got off the bus. That's when it happened. An old woman suddenly stepped off behind me. I froze. I had been sitting at the very back of the bus. I was sure there was no one else on it. Absolutely sure. But here she was, frail, small, wrapped in an old-fashioned shawl, trudging carefully behind me. She looked like she was in her 80s. Her skin was wrinkled, her expression calm but unreadable. And then I noticed something else. She looked like she was of Indian descent, just like me. That in itself was strange. It was the middle of the night, a heavy snowstorm, and I had never seen an elderly Indian woman walking alone in this area, let alone at midnight in such dangerous weather. But maybe I was overthinking it, right? I turned and started my walk home, cautiously stepping through the knee-deep snow. After a minute or two, I heard shuffling behind me. I looked back. She was struggling to walk, clearly having a hard time. I hesitated. A part of me just wanted to get home, but something pulled at my conscience. So I turned back and asked, "Do you need help?" She didn't say anything. She just reached out her hand and placed it gently in mine. Then she said, "Yes, I do." But she didn't say it in English. She said it in my native Indian language. And here's the thing. India has hundreds of languages. I had never spoken to her before, and I hadn't said a word in my language all day. So how did she know? We walked together, hand in hand, her grip surprisingly strong. I asked her where she was going, if she lived nearby, if she had any family. She didn't respond, except once. When I asked her, "Why are you out so late?" she replied softly, "I'm looking for someone." Then silence. After a few more steps, she pointed toward a narrow road that branched off the main one, a street I had never taken before. I usually avoided it because it looked like a dead end. But tonight she led the way. I followed. After a few minutes, she stopped in front of a small, old house. It looked abandoned. No lights, no decorations, no signs of life, except for a tiny bulb glowing faintly near the door. She let go of my hand and started walking toward the house. I stayed back, watching her slow, steady steps. She reached the doorstep, almost gliding through the snow. I turned to walk away, but then paused. Something didn't feel right. I turned back to look one more time. She was gone, just like that. I walked back to where she had just been. There was no sign of her, no door opening sound, no footsteps, no figure in the doorway, nothing. And then came the most terrifying realization. There were no footprints. The snow around the driveway was untouched, except for my footprints. There weren't even footprints leading to the house. The path we took, completely clean. It was as if she had never been there at all. I felt my heart pounding in my ears. My hands were trembling. Then I remembered something. Just before she let go of my hand, she had turned to me and said, "Thank you so much, Ravi." Ravi, that's my name. But I never told her my name. Not during the walk, not on the bus, not at the gas station. It wasn't written on me. It wasn't visible anywhere. So how did she know? Suddenly, the snowfall intensified, as if the sky itself was reacting to what just happened. I turned and ran as fast as I could, slipping, stumbling through the snow. My legs were freezing. My breath came in gasps. I didn't dare look back. All I wanted was to get home. Finally, I reached my apartment. I locked the door behind me, heart still racing. I felt exhausted, terrified, confused. I went over everything again in my mind. Every step, every word, every second. Nothing made sense. Who was she? How did she know my name? Where did she go? And most importantly, was she ever real? I always avoid working late again. Something changed in me that night. Even now, years later, I still live in that area. And every time I walk past that little side road, the one she took me down, my heart skips a beat. I avoid it, always. It looks like a dead end now. There's no house. Sometimes I wonder, was she a spirit? A ghost looking for someone who never came home? Or maybe she was a fragment of someone long gone, appearing in that storm just once more. The woman in the snow. If you've ever had an experience you couldn't explain, something that chilled you to the bone, I want to hear about it. Drop it in the comments below. If you liked this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more real-life horror and mystery stories.